ed, meaning ed that are used to form past tense of some verbs, especially regular verbs. You know, regular verbs are the caliber of verbs that take ed after them. So verbs that are used to form regular verbs, ed that are added to form the past form of regular verbs, are capable of being produced or pronounced in 3 different ways. In some words, it is pronounced s. In some words, it is id. In some words, it is do. Meaning, the same ed that you have in a particular word that sounds as do will sound in another word as id. In another word, it will sound as sti. And I gave a good example of the first one in one of my previous classes, where I said that anytime you have a word, a verb in its past form that takes ed after any of these consonant sounds on the board, it must be pronounced s and not d. A good example, I said when you have laugh, this is laugh. Laugh is having ed. It is no longer loud, it is laughed. This is, we have something like, maybe you have something like talk. It is not talked, it is talked. The same thing, I have P here. Let me put P here. I have P here. I said, this is not stopped, it is talked. If I have past, this is not past, it is past. If I have wash, this is not washed, it is washed. So all these, whenever you have all these consonant sounds coming, including this, coming after having ed after them to form past form, you must pronounce the ed in them as s, not d. This is like a revision of the previous of the class I once had. Then there are other words, any word that ends with t already, and you have ed after it as past tense, is not ed, it is id. The same thing when you have a verb that ends with d and takes another ed, it is id, not ed. So that is why you cannot have something like wanted. You simply say what now? Wanted. So there is nothing like shouted. What you have is what now? Shouted. There is nothing like rounded. What you have is what? Rounded. There is nothing like founded. What you have is what? Founded. So we must note that anytime you have a verb taking inflectional ed and it ends with a t or with a d, the sound the ed will give us is id. That is why we have wanted, shouted, rounded, and what? Founded. Then, if you now have other verbs, all other verbs ending in ed, and they do not belong to either of these two, you pronounce them as do. That is why past tense of carry becomes what now? Carried. Past tense of arrive become what now? Arrived. Past tense of, maybe past tense of kill still remains killed. Slammed, and others. So we have all these. They are the ones you can call D. Why here you are not supposed to say landed. You say what now? Landed. Whereas here you are not supposed to say carried. You have what? Carried. You have arrived. You have killed. Whereas here you are not supposed to say laughed. You say laughed. You are not supposed to say thought. You say thoughts. It is stopped, not stopped. It is past, not past. It is washed, not washed. And it is also washed, not washed. inflectional ed in words can sound as s, ed, and d, depending on the last consonant sound in that word.